For Progressive Voices, I'm John Sinton, and this is a turning point today of hijinks, hijacks, and highway robbery. We have the votes. That's the ex-president telling people not to worry. He said, "Elect me and you'll never have to vote again." That's how the headline in the Baptist News Global read, and virtually every other evangelical organ. At first utterance, that sounded like braggadocio, or maybe an empty campaign promise, akin to the old infrastructure week ruse, or replacing the Affordable Care Act. But upon further examination, and taken in context with everything else he's said, its actual meaning is much more ominous. The Wall Street Journal led with this headline: "It feels very dystopian. Republic County officials brace for election deniers again." The article cites how law-abiding election officials in Maricopa County, that's Phoenix, Arizona, are using metal detectors, hardening buildings, adding protection for their workers, and flying drones to keep a bird's-eye view on their surroundings. The Trump campaign has spent months lining up precinct captains, election boards, and state legislators in an all-out effort to capitalize on what they learned from their failed attempts in 2020. They were recently slapped back by courts in Georgia, where the election board, controlled by Trumpians, overreached very publicly. The problem elsewhere, like Arizona, is that the insurgents are misleading or silent. Fascist to the core. That's what Mark Milley, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and our highest-ranking military officer, said to investigative reporter Bob Woodward of Watergate fame. Some are angry that Woodward waited months after the interview to let loose with this incredibly serious warning, but I like the timing. We spend so much time marinating in Trump's abnormal behavior that we are numb to it, but a warning like this, coming from the pinnacle of our military, combined with the 40-some former cabinet officers and staff who have all denounced Donald Trump as unfit, might, and I emphasize might, cut through the clutter of social media and the seemingly impenetrable bubble of right-wing media. Remember, their silo is not just Fox News. It's also talk radio, Elon Musk's X, a jillion social media platforms, and untold numbers of podcasts and websites. A day of love. In his continuing assault on memory and truth, the former president has, when not silently swaying to his playlist for 39 minutes on a rally stage, recently taken to referring to the January 6th insurrection as a day of love. I guess it wasn't enough that he promised to release the people, hostages he calls them, who beat Capitol police officers with poles whose flags bore his name. Watchdog groups are mobilizing their lawyers, preparing to meet the unexpected or expected onslaught of frivolous lawsuits designed to slow election results and force the issue into the Supreme Court or Congress, where Trump can win. The big question is whether our election processes can withstand the siege they are about to endure. Organizations bent on decency and democracy are marshaling their forces. Common Cause is a nonpartisan, nonprofit, good government organization. Founded in the wake of Watergate by John Gardner, its sole mission is the protection of democracy. Its long-standing goals of honest, ethical, and transparent government remain elusive. As the chairman of the governing board of Common Cause Georgia from 2011 to 2017, I was honored to fight the good fight in a place where it mattered. My friends and media colleagues in New York and Los Angeles begged me to move to one of those cities permanently, but I was disinclined. I always replied, "Look, I'm in the South because this is where the fight is." And it's also where my heart was for nearly 40 years. We raised a family there and revere the South for its contributions to culture, cuisine, the arts, and, of course, humidity. For Trump, a lifetime of scandals heads toward a moment of judgment. That's the headline in the New York Times. Will Election Day be Judgment Day? We'll find out whether he's a political genius who is secure in the knowledge that he doesn't need to campaign conventionally, or whether he's so convinced that the cheating landscape he's planted over the last 4 years will bloom like madness in the fall and ensure his victory at the ballot box, in the courts, or in Congress. So why not sway to the tunes? Lawful but awful. That's what legal and election experts are saying about Elon Musk's potentially illegal promise to give $1 million a day to some lucky person who registers and signs his petition/pledge to support the Republican ticket. These are the same swell folks who made it illegal to give water to Georgians waiting in the heat and interminable voting lines that cropped up after they removed drop boxes and made voting by mail and early voting impossible for some. The wait is nearly over, or perhaps it's just beginning. For Progressive Voices, I'm John Sinton.
PV brings you the best progressive audio and video in one free stream. Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Randy Rhodes, David Packman, Brad Friedman, and more. Search Progressive Voices on the TuneIn app, download the free Progressive Voices app, or go to progressivevoices.com.